Women have a name in the Bible, the same as the Holy Spirit. Name's Helper. Women, and the Holy Spirit, remember, is the dove. He's the sensitive one. He's the feeler. Not that God the Father and the Son don't feel, but He's the comforter. Women can fix men if we'll let them. When we open our soul up to our wife, they look in there and it's just all electrical wiring to them, and they're electricians. They can put it together. They know, they're masters at feelings. And I was so threatened by Karen when she said, well, what's going on in your life, and talk about your feelings. I was so threatened to open my soul up to her. But when I began to open up to her, what I found was it healed me. I mean, I love talking to Karen today. I love it. But the other thing I found is I would talk to her and she would sit there, not in a judgmental way, and women can be judgmental sometimes, but not in a judgmental way, but she would just look in there and say, Jimmy, that's not a normal feeling. And I would say, yeah, it is. No, it's not. That's not normal. That's not healthy. And I'd say, yeah, it is. That's fine, Karen. This is the way a man feels. She said, no, it's not. And what she did is, she just reached in there every time we would talk, and she would just kind of reach into my heart and grab a couple of wires that were miswired and just say, this is the way it ought to be wired. And what happened was she rewired me and she healed me. Today, I love talking to Karen. It doesn't mean she's right about everything, because she's not. It means she's an expert in emotions, because I'm not. When men and women come into my office for counseling over the years, the Kleenex boxes in my office have been emptied countless times, but never by a man. If I've had 300 Kleenex boxes emptied, maybe I've had 5 tissues used by a man. When women are masters of emotions. They're wonderful, wonderful. I heard this one, we were having this conversation one day on our staff, and this woman on our staff made this comment, which is, to me, she said, I love going to a movie that makes me cry. And I thought, that's why I hate girl movies. I hate movies that make me cry. I hate it because girl movies, first of all, you have to go through the torture of all the conversation. And you do. I like Terminator. I like that kind of stuff, But you have to go through the torture of the conversation. Then it always wants to make you cry, and you fight the last 15 or 20 minutes of the movie, not fighting, not crying. You don't want to cry. And then finally when you cry, it's like, allergies, dang. Women come into my office literally, and I'll say, well, what's going on? And they'll say, first word, well, and they'll grab a Kleenex. And a little tear will come down. Well, man comes in and says, well, this knife in my back doesn't hurt. My leg's broke, but I'm going to the doctor next Tuesday. And we have the worst marriage in the history of the world, but it'll be all right. And they just don't cry. They just don't cry. And if they do cry, they just fight it so hard like that, But women are at peace with their emotions. And the wonderful thing about women is, when you talk to them, they'll put you at peace with your emotions. But you can't get there on your own. They're masters. And communication is not just words. It's the world of feelings and thoughts that you become one. And so words are critically important to a marriage, and a woman has a need for words when a man doesn't. Let me go back to my little talk to women earlier. And I had a little talk to the ladies earlier, and here's what I said to the ladies, and I want every man here to be very appreciative of this. I told your wife, if she doesn't need sex, it really doesn't matter. You need it, and she ought to give it to you. Rarely will you have the same need at the same time, and so it's your need. She has the gift, you have the need. She needs to have a good attitude and be more sexual than she feels and to meet your needs. That was my little speech to the ladies. Now here's my speech to the men. It doesn't matter if you want to talk or not. She needs it. You talk. When you get home, you have a time every day, and when she wants to talk, you sit down and you patiently give her the details that she needs. They're important to her. They may not be important to you, but they're important to her. And just as she needs to be more sexual than she feels, you need to be more emotional than you feel. and more verbal than you feel. And you don't say to her, I just don't feel like talking. Well, I just don't want to do that. Well, you may need an hour or so to unwind, but you need to make sure that every single day that you sit down and talk with her. It's oxygen to her world. It's water to her soul. It's nourishment to her. But when you open up to her, not only will it meet a deep need in her, it'll fix you. Communication to a woman is just like sex to a man. I mean, it's that important. And it's that sense of connection that she has to her husband. So my encouragement to all the guys watching right now is really work hard, not just for a day or two, or not just when you're in trouble or something. Work hard at meeting your wife's need. And I'll tell you, you're going to get the response that you're looking for. For so long in our marriage, when we first got married 35 years ago, I didn't understand Karen's needs. I just thought she was weird. And every time she tried to tell me what her needs were, I just, rolled my eyes and rejected her. And I'll tell you what, it had a tremendous impact in a negative way on our relationship. And I was looking for a certain response from her, honor and a sexual response and all those types of things. When I began to meet her needs, she was transformed and our marriage was transformed. And the response I never got before, when I was ignoring her needs, I got immediately when I began to meet her needs. These are very profound needs that women have, and I encourage every man watching right now, you work hard to meet your wife's needs, and I promise it'll pay off in a big way.
Thank you for joining us. Partner with Marriage Today and receive the Marriage on the Rock series on CD or DVD. Marriage Today's latest book, Happy Happy Love, will supercharge your marriage with practical tips, wisdom, and inspiration for every stage of marriage. Visit happylovebook.com. Follow your interests and get social by connecting with Jimmy and Karen and the Ministry of Marriage Today on Twitter. Become a rock-solid partner today and equip yourself with the tools you need for a successful marriage. $14, $28, or $56 per month. Choose the partnership level that's right for you. Become a rock-solid partner today.